that land acquisition phase would begin almost immediately.
Carney's arrogance is getting him in some hot water. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today we're finding out who was heckling Mark Carney during his press conference where he's giving out billions of dollars to Ontario home builders, essentially. As the housing discounts have already been increased by the builders, got some more updates on the Alto high-speed rail system. We got a ton of stuff here. Let's jump into this. Starting this off, April 1st, April Fool's Day. Canadians are the fools, though. We have the industrial carbon tax increasing here to $110 per ton. That's 120% higher than 2022. With that, we've got Australia cutting fuel tax in half, free transit, Italy having emergency fuel tax cut, Spain with a fuel tax relief, Ireland with a fuel tax relief, Portugal with a fuel tax relief, and Canada increases the industrial carbon tax and taxes on stumbling juice. Politicians are getting a raise for not delivering anything for Canadians. We've got $8,800 extra for backbench MPs, $13,000 extra for ministers, and Carney's giving himself a nice $17,600 raise for doing nothing. And Mr. Bench here posting the receipts. We've got cabinet minister's salary, $322,000. Base MP is $218,000. This needs to be directly tied to results. If they don't get results, it should go down, not up, not always up. We've got this one too. Dollarama's in trouble. Yeah, as Table Salt says, Dollarama's struggling. What's cheaper than Dollarama stores? Starvation, dumpster diving? You know it's bad when Dollarama is struggling. They're forecasting slower sales growth, signaling potential shift in consumer sentiment. And we've got the Reclamaire posting this. We've got a 440 max capacity inmates in this prison, and they have found $300,000 in contraband seized at Agassiz Correctional Institute. How does that happen? Nobody knows. And considering Gary Anisandra here didn't know what an RPAL is, I'm sure he doesn't know either. Got an interesting video here from Whitehorse, Yukon, of wind turbines not spinning. But don't worry, folks, it cost $30 million to put those up there. A little update with what's going on in Iran. We've got over 400 strikes there in the past 2 days. Talks may not be progressing positively. Trump said to have threatened to cut arms supplies to Kyiv in Ukraine. Most of this other world news here doesn't have to do with Iran, so seems things have slowed down there. It appears the Strait of Hormuz has opened up. We've got Ukraine's Donbass pullout could lead to a ceasefire, so more stuff happening in Ukraine. And then Putin here, it says Russia does not work to please anyone, noting the country's goal is to strengthen itself. So not sure there'll be any resolution with that anytime soon. Moving ahead, we've got Mark Carney putting his foot in his mouth when he was getting heckled here. Turns out we know who was heckling him. It was a First Nations lady who had mercury poisoning, and First Nations community is royally pissed off at Mark Carney.
Rents are down to a 33-month low. Rental affordability is improving. The rent-income ratio, its lowest level in 6 years. Rent here in Etobicoke for a 2-bedroom is down 8.4% compared to last year. I can outlast her. Nous avons agi avec rapidité et ambition.
So the fact he said, I can outlast her, and they're having a laugh about it. First Nations taking this like they're laughing at them. They're not taking issues serious. Not a good look for Carney. I mean, he's Mr. Arrogant, just like Trudeau.
Et nous avons commencé comme nous
So we have that from this article here. First Nation chief demands apology after PM said he could outlast demonstrator. 2 First Nation chiefs are calling out Prime Minister Mark Carney to apologize, saying that he could outlast a First Nation woman who was protesting over mercury poisoning in her community. Chrissy Isaacs, a Grassy Narrows woman suffering from mercury poison, was in Toronto on Monday to demand compensation from the provincial government for mercury contamination. The Dryden paper mill released thousands of kilograms of mercury into the community's river system from the 1960s to the 1970s. Community members are still dealing with the fallout today. So that's the background there. It's a pretty ugly background with that one. Carney, Doug Ford all laughing that off. I can outlast her, all that. And then, so in response, I'm disgusted with the Prime Minister for saying I can outlast her because our people are dying prematurely. Shame on him for laughing at people who are sick and bullying a woman, and shame on those who are laughing along with him, Grassy Narrows First Nation Chief Sherry Akabi said in a media statement. Making fun of people is unprofessional. Chief Roland Fisher of Wabaseemoong Independent Nations said governments should not dismiss the concerns of the community members and called on Carney to meet with them. So this goes on to talk about a previous situation with Justin Trudeau after a protester who supported Grassy Narrows disrupted a 2019 Liberal Party fundraiser.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Mr. Trudeau, people in Grassy Narrows are suffering from mercury poisoning. You committed to addressing this right.
Thank you for being here. Thank you very much for your donation tonight. I really appreciate it. And as we know, Liberal Party filled with different perspectives and different opinions, and we respect them all. And
He's such an ugly man. Thank you for your donation. What a guy. He's the same as Mark Carney, these arrogant, smug, authoritarian disgraces of leaders. Why do people vote for these guys? Why? If Canadians want someone with the lowest moral character possible, well, you got it right here in Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney. It's no wonder why they're so pissed off, because they were pushed aside before and now Carney laughing it off this time.
I can outlast her. I can outlast her.
From mercury poisoning, you committed to addressing this.
thank you for being here. Thank you very much for your donation tonight. I really appreciate it.
Ugh. Ugly. They don't care about any problems of any Canadian, whether it's mercury poisoning or starvation, Canadians skipping meals, they don't care. Now, someone who does care is Pierre Poilievre. Listen to this. He gets asked about the high-speed rail, and then he goes on to blast Mark Carney and his connections to Brookfield and China.
Follow up with a question for Peterborough. You mentioned that nobody wants this project. Peterborough residents and City Council have both expressed support for this high-speed rail project. How would you justify your opposition to local leadership and to residents here?
I will answer that, but first of all, I apologize. I forgot to include one important thing about Mr. Carney's position on Beijing. Mr. Carney continues to hold millions of dollars of investment in Brookfield, which is massively expanding its investments in the People's Republic of China. He flew to Beijing in order to secure a massive loan from a government-backed bank just before he became prime minister. What my message to Mr. Carney is, it's time for him to put people ahead of profit, to put values ahead of corporate interests, and to stand up for what is right, as he promised in his Davos speech allusion. So, on the question of the support, the people don't support this $90 billion Alto monstrosity. Go around to the communities. I would encourage you to go knock on the doors in Peterborough and ask them, are you prepared to pay $8,000 in taxes just to build the project, and then pay higher taxes every year forever to subsidize its permanent annual losses? The answer is no. The Canadians across this country can find a better way to spend $8,000, and it's time for us to put an end to these costly pie in the sky liberal schemes that have given us the worst food price inflation, the highest housing costs, and some of the worst tax burdens anywhere in the world. Thank you.
There's a lot of pushback on X. I'm astonished how many people, liberals, there's even a couple of conservatives, I think they're fake conservatives, pushing back against Pierre and saying this is a bad idea, we need high-speed rail. They don't understand the economics. When we have a country as big as Canada, but our population is so small, there's only two ways this gets done. Either the private sector steps in and gets it done, which they haven't, and that's probably because it's not economically viable, or it can be done with taxpayer money. Is everyone prepared to spend $8,000 for a high-speed train over there? I'm not. They could build a bridge from Vancouver Island to Vancouver first. That would be more useful to me, but they're not going to do that either. Not unless the Liberals or Brookfield can make money from that. That's why Pierre's pushing back against this. It's going to put us further in debt. Food is already too expensive. We need to get rid of this inflationary spending, and $90 billion for a high-speed train is not going to help us. It's going to hurt us. I even saw one person, let's show you the post. This guy here, Andrew, said Alto will cost $310 per year taxpayer construction, yada yada. TMX costs $270 per year. Alto will benefit 18 million Canadians, 43% of Canada. TMX mainly benefits Alberta. Like, there's such a dumb post because TMX construction was blocked by the Liberals, thus then they had to take it over as a taxpayer funded thing to finish it, but it generates billions of dollars every single year. Alto high-speed train will cost us money every year. It doesn't generate money. These posts are so stupid. Did they not realize that oil pipeline is not something for fun? It generates money. That's what it is. It's a product we sell. Something else that's not being talked about. Are they really going to hit the target of $90 billion? We know full well this is going to go to 120, 130, 150. So what, we're all going to pay $16,000 for this high-speed train? Not to mention this rail line, they'll be seizing taxpayers' land along the way.
Just, I'm going to take a little bit of liberty here, and I want to, because this is an issue that's, as I've honestly, on Friday alone, I got 2 or 3 calls of people in tears, and that's with respect to the high-speed rail and the concern that it's causing in Eastern Ontario, and I assume as well in some of the rural areas of Quebec. They're really concerned out there, and I'm hoping we get some concrete answers as much as possible from you, Minister. So I'm just going to ask you some pretty concrete questions, and hopefully I'll get those answers. When will the final route be determined?
this year.
Okay. Thank you. When will expropriation begin, and when will property owners get notice of that?
The expropriation provisions, should they be adopted by Parliament, that land acquisition phase would begin almost immediately.
That expropriation is the land seizure. You basically don't get a say in the matter. They'll just say it's major infrastructure and take away your land. You got farmland, whatever. They'll give you market value or whatever it is, pay you out, but you don't get a say in it. A family farm for the last 200 years, they don't care. Even got an article here right on CBC saying Alto CEO answers questions about high-speed rail project. Listen to this. How do you respond to the concerns from landowners worried about high-speed rail possibly disrupting their land? When you build large infrastructure that are desperately needed like this, you always have three similar comments in the community. Where's the station? Communities are providing comments on where the station should be in a community. There's no station, of course, mobilizing to get a station. And where the line crosses the territory, people want to use the train but want the alignment to be elsewhere. Then it says when it comes to expropriating land, if people aren't happy and not budging, what do you do in that case? We will need to buy significant pieces of land, so we're talking about thousands of properties. That process will probably start in 2027. If people are reluctant, there is, of course, some recourse with the expropriation process that could happen. But really the intent is to have a willing seller-buyer agreements in due time. And then it goes on to say if landowners are not interested in you coming onto their property right now, can they say no thanks? They will say no thanks and we'll say see you later on. As in, you don't have a say in the matter, because at one point in time we'll have to have access to this, otherwise we cannot build it. I'm not a private project, I'm representing the state. I'm doing this for the public good. That's why I'm asking for the collaboration of everyone, because we need this. It has to be built somewhere. The Liberal government has just signed that Musqueam deal in British Columbia. We see the Cowichan case. We see what happened up in Haida Gwaii. Now we have this, more land seizures. Private property is not safe under the Carney Liberals or under the David Eby NDP. Moving ahead, we've got Oshawa Centre jewelry store robbery from this afternoon. Bystanders were able to grab one of the suspects and hold him for the police. It's just every day in Canada. So you notice this guy, I don't know what he's holding, some sort of laptop or something, but he dropped it right there. Dropped some of the goods. You can see it falls out of his hand like right at the start. Got some Canadian strength over here holding this guy down. That's what I like to see. Pin these pieces of garbage and put them in the slammer for 20 years. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. We all know these guys will be out before lunch. Jumping ahead here, I showed you a video in Tabor, Alberta of a semi-truck getting plowed by a train. Well, it turns out there was another one. This is going back 2 years ago. The exact same thing here in the exact same town. So just watch this truck here. You can see that the thing comes down in between the box and the cab here. Now he's kind of stuck. He should back up and just rip this thing off, but that's not what he does.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Why wouldn't he back up and rip off that little wooden thing that comes down, which would have cost whatever, a couple $100, $1,000 or whatever, $2,000 to fix, versus the entire truck is destroyed. You got these kind of buffoons making these decisions here. Oh, wonder what I should do. All you had to do is stick it in reverse and step on the gas. These are the kind of people that are now driving these giant trucks in our country. It's dangerous to our society. I can't understand why he didn't brake at the gate and kept going. Yeah, he shouldn't have drove through the gate at the start. You can see the gate comes down and see the truck there. He drove into the gate. Like, why would he do that? He even hit it there. This guy should have his license revoked and he shouldn't be able to drive for 15 years. Now, the theory going around with this kind of stuff is this always happens with people from India, and they're doing this for the insurance. We're also seeing a large spike in people from India that come here, they get a mortgage, they get big loans, they max out credit cards, then go back home and just leave everything. Just leave all the debt. They don't care. They'll never come back to Canada. How this works is the fraudsters would impersonate someone, steal their identification, get a loan pretending to be someone else for a home, and then steal the money, withdraw it, and take off. Or they max out their credit cards, max out lines of credit, put the money in another bank account or into Bitcoin and take off. Or they'll buy valuable electronics they can easily sell once they get back home. This kind of stuff needs to be prosecuted. We need to have people go over there and get that money back, or police forces in India need to charge these people and get the money back. But in the meantime, maybe we should vet people coming into our country. Maybe we should close the border. What happens when these people rip us off like this and just go back over to their country? Most of these people are just going back to India with all these hundreds of thousands of dollars. It increases insurance rates and screws over Canadians. So if you have guys driving trucks in front of the train intentionally to destroy the truck and then get insurance payout, this just makes insurance for Canadians more expensive. We've got another one here. We've got a jewelry store smash and grab, and I believe we've seen this same jewelry store be smashed before on the channel. These same jewelry stores get hit over and over by these dangerous terror lords that the Liberals have brought in. The same old, same old. They come in some hammers, they smash all the glass, they steal everything. Everyone just watches. This costs everyone in society because insurance goes up, everything gets more expensive, whether it's jewelry, it's cars, you name it. These guys are destroying our country. At some point, somehow Canadians have to fight back against this. I get the cops will say, don't intervene, don't get in there, don't give them a swift side kick right to the knee, shattering their entire leg so they can't move. Don't do that kind of thing, but something has to happen here. The security guards in the malls need to have pew-pews or tasers or something to just completely immobilize these pieces of garbage. Liberals will tell you everything is fine and crime is decreasing. Yes, they will.